Welcome back to Taco Bowler Gaming. My name is Taco Bowler. Today we continue our run playing as the Union in Grand Tactician the Civil War. A couple of notes. First, the Confederacy has now caught up to us in men fielded, but their morale is at 40. We need to get it to 25, right? Or we need to get it to 24.9. So that has helped. I've moved the Army of Pennsylvania. Going to go ahead and come down and attack this one lone army here. They are in core now, and I think this one next to it indicates that they are all in this army, the same army here. But yeah, they're all in the same army, so they might reinforce, but this is pretty far away from anyone else. My goodness. And I'm wondering if the South Carolina militia is actually the kind of owner of it, but yeah, this is pretty far away from anything else. So I'm going to try to send them down and attack the Army of the Valley, see if we can't fight it alone from everyone else. Our supply situation is doing much, much better. And I am kind of curious if let's go ahead and do that too. Let's attack the army of Shenandoah. Do you have rail movement? You do, not going to matter. And now the army of the Ohio. And the Department of the Ohio, just get like closer-ish. We're going to leave them where they are, kind of guarding against this massive force here. But if we can force these guys back, we can swing around. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. And we do need to be watching two things, actually. We'll worry about the Army of Iowa here in a second. We really need to make sure that people are still going over to Lynchburg. And I don't think they are. And you're not going to be able to. Yeah, the Department of the East still is, but no one else is. And, yeah, the Army of Maine... Or, no, the Army of New York is now stuck. Because they're not going to be able to move until their readiness is up. That's not good. Alright, so now we go to the Army of Iowa. Make sure that they're getting out. Awaiting orders. 112 hours. Goodness gracious. These guys have broken men. 451 men. 1,600. Should still have that. So we'll play. We should still have that, no problem. But we really need to wait for the full reinforcements. All right, the Battle of Jonesboro. This is, of course, an attacking battle. And as I said, we really need to wait to get the reinforcements so that we have the numerical advantage here. So what that ultimately results in is that I am going to just sit and wait In fact, I actually built some defenses, since this will be an offensive battle anyway, so we can afford to waste some engineering points. And I'm just setting up defensively. If they come at me, fine. But otherwise, I'm just waiting for the end of day when we will get our reinforcements. And so this is at a 3 times speed, I think. Maybe even more here, but yeah, we're just waiting. I think that it's important to have that numerical advantage, and I'm trying to learn a little bit. But I'm also kind of looking at, okay, how am I going to attack this? Where are they? Where do I think they are? Since I've been surprised by that in the past. What are we going to be doing here? I'm trying to figure that out. I think I ultimately detached the cannons here, and we just wait for the end of day, which takes longer than I really anticipated. But one of the other things that we're really going to be looking at is the terrain along these roads, because there's 2 roads that you can get there from what is Willow Garden right there in the middle. There's 2 roads that you can move on that'll get to the victory point. So, do I take this in one army, or do I take it in 2? Recognizing what we had just faced. So, in a recent battle. But here we are. I've got the entire army of the Ohio. There, we're going to limber the cannons. Make sure that they are detached. But yeah, we got the entire Department of the Ohio, and we're going to move the Department of the Ohio forward as 1. So that's what I'm deciding to do, is to move as 1. And we're going to move slowly-ish. And right now I'm trying to decide which road I'm going to go on. And about now I'm starting to think, it wouldn't be too bad to have that big rock mountain there behind me with my cannons on it, that maybe I should go up there. My guess is that they wouldn't expect that. That wherever they are, whether they're guarding a pass over here on what amounts to Old Plank Road, which would be a very defensible position with the river and lake on one side and the cliff there on the other, or whether they're on the other road, or whether they're, wherever they are, they're not going to expect me to climb the mountain. Now, the penalty to this, the bad part to this, would be the fact that they would be, my men are going to be tired, and we are going to see that actually in one brigade only, but in one brigade as we go on, because they are having to climb the mountain. However, it's a relatively easy slope on this side of the mountain here. That cliff is bad, but over here it was a relatively easy slope to try and climb up. So, not too bad. And here I decide that we can move the entire army forward. So the Army of Ohio is going to wind up on the road, on the east road, while the Army, I think, of Michigan is going to wind up on hiking straight up the mountain with cannons behind it. And the goal is to kind of converge either where they are, if they're guarding this road earlier, or just converge on the victory point with the cannons coming, firing down behind us from Big Rock Mountain. That's the idea. So the big thing here is I want to make sure that everyone is together. We're going to wait for everybody. If it takes till the next day, fine. This isn't a large victory point. It seems to be okay. And so here we're just going to move everyone forward about half the distance. We'll see where it all goes, and see if they run into anybody. That's really what we're after here. And so here they go. They're moving on up. You can see there the road and how much the road impacts things. The one that's on the road is already there, while the one over here on the left that's in the forest and traveling up the most hills is barely even started. So you can see the difference. Some of the ways we move affects in this game. Whether you're having to go through forest, whether you have a road, or whether you're climbing up a hill, all that matters there. But you can see that one brigade trailing behind. It's exhausted. And it's really trailing behind, so now I have to decide, do I want to wait for it or not? And I decide I'm going to go a little bit of distance here, and it's on the road. It should be able to catch up. It should be fine. I hope so. Those cannons are in the woods there. They're really trailing behind. And it does. The road helps out, and we get all the way up to there. So this is where I'm kind of anticipating that they might start showing up, unless they are guarding the old blank road to the left on the cliff side, in which case it will be great. And there they are. So now I'm in good position. We're stopped. We can organize, and that's good. And here they're moving, so now I'm just going to stop, and I'm going to unlimber the cannons, get them on whatever crest of whatever hill I can. And I'm going to see what they do, because I'm not really sure what they're going to do here. It looks like they're lining up for a defensive fight. And here we go, that standard lag getting into the graphics, and I'm decided, nope, we're going to sit back on the map here. Oh, no, nope, they're retreating back. Okay, where are they retreating? I don't know. But I decided, let's go ahead and just move a little bit forward. Since they did retreat, let's move a little bit. And we're also turning a little bit so that we can face them better. Now we see them. And the big key thing to note here is that we have high ground. So when our cannons get in range, which we just continue to press forward that little by little, when our cannons get in range, their cannons likely won't be. Just simply because that we have the higher ground, and they would have to shoot up, and we're shooting down. And so they, I think, recognize that. So despite the fact that we are nowhere near the victory point, and they are technically supposed to be defending the victory point, they start to attack. We have the numerical advantage. That's why we waited for our people. So we have the ability. We have a longer line, in spite of the fact that we're in double line and they don't appear to be. We have the longer line, and we can begin to envelop them. And that works about as well as you'd think it would. Particularly on our left. They seem to have a lot more divisions and brigades on our rights, plus that's in a forested area. There's a wounded in action, unfortunately. But here, where the mountain is, and with fewer divisions and no forest, the Confederate right, my left, they start to break, and we can now just start to fold their lineup, which is exactly what I want to do, what I'm always trying to do. And in fact, we're now getting to a point where I'm considering I can actually start to fold with an entire army. Instead of just a division, I can take an army of 2 divisions. I'm not quite sure what happened here. I think that we had them in the wrong order or something like that. But end of day anyway, which probably was good, because they were starting to cross and be flanked and all that jazz. So we set them back up. Here I don't recognize that I have the army of Indiana, so not Michigan, so Indiana. Don't recognize that I have the entire army selected, so there we go. Oops. You get up there, you get up there. Okay. Now I make sure I have the cannons. We're just going to move the cannons a lot closer, right on the edge of the hill as it starts to go down. And basically, yeah, we just continue on. Oh, they have moved. So we're going to take the Army of Indiana as an army there. We're going to take this army and move here, and we're starting to use those fence lines that are present. But they are moving now, and they're attacking straight in, and we wind up letting it go. Anticipating that we're just, our numerical advantage is going to win the day if the 2 armies are meeting kind of scrum. And we try and hold the left side in a more solid formation, because it did appear that they had more men over there. But yeah, they're confused. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go, and so we just take that, and we push forward as hard as we can. And try and get that division to line up right here. We're just going to try and put as much fire into them as we can in as much different places as we can, and make it work. So there we go. You can see that some of their army is already retreating, but we're forcing as many things back as we can, and things start to go really, really poorly for the Confederates here, as they don't have the cover anymore that saved them yesterday. It's just, they're just being destroyed by flanking fire and all sorts of fun things. And there we go. The enemy is retreating, and so we press forward as far as we can. There is a surrender of quite a few men, and so we have a very large discrepancy in the stuff here. But you'll notice there, right behind, there is another unit coming in. I don't know
what that was or where it was, but I grabbed some of my reserves from the various divisions and bring them over to try and intercept it, but they don't ever successfully get there. There is the end of the battle. 6,500 to 3,600. I call that a victory.
Glorious victory at Jonesboro. The army of Shenandoah fleeing in panic. Notice in there that Colonel Price was the reinforcement that we didn't know about, but that's great. 6,600 casualties, 2,300, almost 2,400 captured of that. Only 3,600 of my men are casualties, which is a lot, but we can afford to have differing numbers on that front. But was that the Missouri State Guard? No, it's the Army of Northwest. They are trying to recruit to something. So that's worth noting. Not great. $30,000. That could be a corps. That could be just like these combined, but doesn't look like it. Yikes. Just yikes. Alright, so we should still be on the same day. Which of course we are. And this looks fun. Actually, we can win this. We can win this.
All right, the Battle of Arkansas River. Once again, we are very sped up here at the first parts of things. The victory point here is Foggy Top. Very close to us, very far away from them, so it's basically a defensive battle, but we don't have the opportunity to build any defensive work here at the start. And basically I just try and set these up, the two divisions forming a kind of line, and then the cannons on top of the little hill, or I guess it might be a mountain. And then I decided that we're going to go ahead and actually put them in single line because we don't have nearly as many divisions. Just spread out a little bit more. You'll notice that one of the divisions stops when you put it in single line. They stop all other movement, so we kind of wait for the second division to get over there. Just try and line them up as best we can. Recognize there's a problem there, and I picked the wrong division ultimately to try and fix that, but we get it worked out. But yeah, basically that was the wrong division. Because that's or wrong brigade, excuse me, because that's in the second division. But I figured that out. Okay, we're gonna move them over there, and that actually works out beautifully right there. And so, yep, we just get everything in position. We have the cannons able to fire over, which is exactly what we want to see. And we just now are waiting. And waiting to see if they come. And in fact, what I noticed at this point is that it's just about the end of the day. It's almost 9 o'clock at night, which means we do get to build. Now we only have 5 engineering points right now, so we just do some breastworks because that's really all we can do. We can't do the parapets, but we do have breastworks, and we build what we can now. Importantly, I have like 0.9 left, but that breastwork builds, even though it is only, it shouldn't have technically. It did build, so there we go. We set them up. And about this point, give or take, the thought enters my mind to begin to worry about the flanks. And since they're not here, we can tell our divisions to build in game, the breastworks. So I decided to build a 1 division long flank on both sides with the division that would be on the flank. And we're there, and so they start to build, and we'll just see if they can finish before the Confederates get here. They got across the entire map, literally the entire map. They came in the northernmost point, northernmost edge of the map, so they have to literally cross the entire map. But here they come, and on top of that, you notice they're not coming on a road. Very similar to what I did. They're coming over Rocky Top there. So I keep building because they're coming at my middle, and I have 4 divisions there. Oh, there they come on the side, but they're turning. Okay, so we finished the flanked breastworks, so which is good. And here we go. They have attacked the middle under cannon fire, and they're trying to get over the fence line. And boom, we've captured them. Now a couple more divisions are coming in, and you can see that they are already retreating. It doesn't really look like they're retreating, but they're retreating, and now they're starting to break. There is another capture that has happened. You can see that second notification came up on the left side. Brutal for their army, this battle. Brutal for their army. I forget exactly what the casualty ratio is, the casualty numbers are, but 2 entire brigades have been captured on that side. Just absolutely terrible for them.
Glorious victory at the Arkansas River, which is amazing. But we do need to be a little concerned that this army needs to get a move on, because they're about to get hit by this. I'm going to actually have them... Well, we can't retreat. We really need to get my readiness up. We need to get through a day. Let's get through at least one day, please. Oh, they're coming down for Little Rock. And they're going to be able to force me out of there. Yeah, we're going to retreat on that one. I do like, though, that we wind up retreating where I would want to go anyway. So, there's that at least. Ah, Brigadier General Churchill has been exchanged. Good, I think. Okay, we're preparing a siege here. That's not really what I was after. A siege lets them reinforce. But we don't overly have much choice, do we? There's a readiness. So let's bring the actual department down, see if they can trigger an actual battle. Other way. Okay, I guess. Oh good, the Army of New York is ready. Move them there. Now. We're gonna move everybody. Hey, we can do this here. We want siege string on the department. We're going to prepare to assault this position. And then figure out if we're going for Nashville or Chattanooga. Alright, these have been taken. That's good. Love that the Army of Kansas wound up retreating to there. Because just keep pressing. I know the Army of Iowa is kind of stuck a little ways behind everything, but oh well. Confederacy is printing new notes. They're going bankrupt. you know what? Just, your order is to halt. Can you make that order? Yes. Just stop moving. That's your order. And the Union has finally passed the Revenue Act. We actually got to a new month, and we actually passed a platform. Alright, Corinth is ours. So you get to Vicksburg as quickly as you can, whatever path. We're going to try and meet everyone up at Vicksburg. It's just one army now at Little Rock. It's a large army. No. That'll work, hopefully. Hopefully. I'm going to try to take Granada before any more shenanigans happen. Do want to see if they've recruited anyone. Yeah, no, they didn't. We do, however, have a... take war bonds. We do, however, have a... Oh, you're going after the Army of Kansas? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take this, and then that'll probably end us for this episode.
And now here we go, the Battle of Corinth. Once again, basically a defensive battle. You can see the victory point there is on the edge of my deployment zone. And I decide that it's close enough. So we're going to actually just build it defensively right on the edge of the deployment zone. We don't have a ton of engineering points, so I'm trying to utilize the fences that are already present in this field. And we have enough, so we continue on over there. But we're going to, once again, similar to a previous battle a couple ago, we're going to put the cannons right on the front and set up some infantry behind them, ready to come, defend them if need be. But basically just kind of let the cannons fire as the first line of defense. But we're going to put those two infantry right there behind them, and then we just move our guys in a little bit, so we can get that to go, maybe, somewhat, possibly, I don't know. Trying to figure out if we can set that signal, go on signal order there beforehand, or if we need to wait till deployment, and indeed we need to wait to deployment. So here we're setting up some skirmishers. We sent one skirmishing unit out just to capture the victory point so that it's starting to tick, and we should be close enough that they can't take it from us, that it would be contested the entire time that we'd be there. And now we wait. But thankfully it's a smaller battlefield, and we don't have to wait nearly as long as some of these other battles where we were waiting an extended period of time. Here we're once again deciding to build some more on the flank, just in case they do come that way, because that is possible. We would want to kind of be protected there. Granted, we could just fall back to the fence that's in the farm, but this also does build some experience for those brigades to be able to get a perk. In fact, you can get engineering as a perk, which would give you more engineering points for your army here, but they are on their way. So we didn't have to wait long for them to arrive. Interestingly, this one here, I take it off. We do have the one brigade still construction. I try and set it up for a delayed order and never do successfully figure out how to make it wait. It was very impatient, but this is a first battle, so maybe they just didn't know what to do. But I try that a couple of times and decide, we'll just manually do that one. But here we are, and so they sit here. They have some skirmishers. The skirmishers come up quite often, and we get in position to drive them off, and that does happen. But after we get in position to drive them off, they just sit there. And they sit there, and they sit there. And in fact, they sit there quite a lot. We don't do a ton of damage here, but we can't seem to ever really get them to push at us. They're gonna sit there and make us come to them, and we're just gonna sit here and beat them down with cannon fire. Like I said, I wish that this cannon fire did more, but it didn't. So we're going to go ahead and speed it up even faster now, and just try and get through this a little bit more. Eventually, what I try and do is something I've seen, I think, on the Reddit. But you send out some of your own skirmishers just to try and change the calculations that the AI has, and see if that can get them to move. I've seen it work, but they stubbornly stand there. But what winds up happening with this is that we can now go and our skirmishers start to fire at them. So here we have 5 units of skirmishers that are coming in, and they're now taking flanking fire. Our skirmishers, which are only 200 people, are firing at their entire brigade. The skirmishers take much less damage than the actual brigade does. And so we're hitting them with flanking fire, and as soon as they drive one off, then the cannons start opening fire on them again, and causing all sorts of problems. Now, I had hoped that they would follow some of these, and we could, decisively end things. The only ones that ultimately wind up following anything is their own skirmishers they detach from that back unit there, several times. But this results in a very good casualty ratio to us, because we have very little units that are spread out on a battlefield, attacking much larger units. So here we pull those skirmishers back, and that skirmisher did come back to us, and we force them off, but that doesn't do us any good. They get a little closer, but not overly well. And here we're about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. So we send out some more skirmishers and try to push with them a little bit, but you can see it getting a little bit darker already. And here we have an issue where the skirmishers start facing the wrong way as soon as they get there, and taking a little bit of shooting in the back level of flanking fire. Not ideal, but here we go. You can see that we're already headed toward a victory. The casualty ratio there is 10 to 1, I think, here, but we can't get any of these to rout. Whatever we do, we can't not get them to rout. They get a little closer, and then the end of day happens here. So at the end of day, we just extend our line a little bit because we know where they are, and they're going to be. And in fact, I decide to take another one of my units and bring them over. I thought about trying to get all the way to the river. Couldn't build the defense there, so we just put the unit here. And here we just set up skirmishers. So we are going to release all 6 possible skirmisher units that we have and line them up right at the edge of our deployment zone. And you can see that we see this problem with them turning the wrong way. But we are right at the edge of the deployment zone, and now we're going to bring in here. So this is basically like a small army, right? There's 1,200 men right there. And they're all firing in and causing massive damage. And we still cannot get them to break any of their units. But we're just pushing and pushing and pushing. We've got these skirmishers now lined up, fire on fire, and we're doing way more damage on them than they are on us. Now, one of those is a detachment that we see in front of us, that one that just went. But we're starting to break, we're starting to break, we're starting to break. As soon as we can rout one of their actual brigades, it'll be done. But here we go. Some of their skirmishers are moving, so I move my infantry forward, and here we go. We've broken their brigades. I think that may have been their actual brigades. we finally got them moved. They came in, they hit us, and it did them no good. Pretty good casualty ratio there. I don't bother with looking for anything. We just finish out the battle.
Okay, so just wanted to grab this in here before I save, but oh, good. This battle here with the Department of Pennsylvania down here, we can now assault it, and I think we need to do that before more people come in. That was the point of fighting this here. So this will be the end of the episode. I hope you've enjoyed, and we'll start next one with the Battle of Strasbourg. Never mind that. I just got notification that the enemy is retreating. So I guess that's the Battle of Strasbourg.